Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in New York. Not New York City, New York State. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the state of New York. And I think I really need to start with this don't first, and that is, don't think that New York State is just New York City. I mean, don't get me wrong, New York City is awesome. There's a reason why so many people visit it. Honestly, it's my favorite big city in the US. I mean, it's so cool, whether you're going to see the art at the Met, or you're going to go eat and drink like a king throughout the city, or going to the Statue of Liberty, or visiting Ellis Island. I mean, there's so much awesome stuff in the city. And then people forget that there's a whole huge, gorgeous, amazing state you can visit as well. Because honestly, New York State is like a lot of states kind of smashed together, because you definitely get a different vibe if you're in upstate New York versus Western New York versus the city versus if you're on Long Island. It's just so different throughout. And I want you to know it's not just New York City. Yes, go to New York City, but don't just stay there. Go and explore this beautiful state. And that's why the next don't I have for you is, when you come to visit New York, make sure you bring some outdoor gear, which seems weird when you're thinking of always going into the cities. But what you have to understand is, here in the state of New York, people love the outdoors. Whether you're going to go hiking the Adirondacks or the Catskills, or maybe you're going to go on the Finger Lakes and go see the vineyards there, or you're going to go see some of the other crazy, awesome state parks that are here. Watkins Glen State Park is super nice. We're here at Glimmerglass State Park. There's a beach right over there the kids are going to go chill out on. I mean, you can see Hyde Hall Covered Bridge, the oldest covered bridge in the U.S. There's a lot of great outdoor stuff that you can do here in New York State. You can go to Lockport Caves. I mean, you could go see the waterfalls that are around here. Yes, Niagara Falls. Yes, you can see that when you are here. But the thing is, there's more waterfalls around as well. Watkins Glen State Park. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff to see and do outside of New York City, and a lot of it has to do with nature, and the people love to go out and explore their state. That's why people from New York are quite proud of their state. Now, when you're driving around the state and you're trying to find different places, another don't I have for you is, don't worry if you can't pronounce the city, town, village, lake, park that you want to go see. You'll see and go, Cuyahoga, I don't know. And it's okay. I'm sure I'm going to run a few of the names of places across the bottom here or over the screen. And you guess how you pronounce it, because honestly, I think it's how they test people to give them like state citizenship, if they can actually pronounce the names of some of these New York City states and lakes when you're in here. But don't feel bad if you can't pronounce them. Now, when you're driving around the state, another thing I think you need to realize is, when you're pumping gas, don't think you can walk away while you're pumping gas. You know that little lock you put on and it pumps for you so you can like clean your windshield or maybe, do something else? Oh, no. Here in New York, you actually have to hold the clicker, the gas thing, the entire time. So don't expect to like chill out or think about what snack you're going to get inside. No. You're sitting there holding it, okay? So driving around the state of New York, it can be an undertaking. And I actually am here with my fantastic wife, who is actually the driver for Wolters World. She's the driver, I'm the navigator. And so we have some more don'ts specifically with the driving here in New York. And I mean, you could really say is, don't think defensive driving here, think more offensive driving.
Definitely offensive, aggressive drivers. And I'm not talking about the city. I mean, like the whole state.
Yes.
Not overly courteous drivers. And
you may hear a honk or 90. You may see a finger or 5.
No, but only one at a time, right?
Yes, only one at a time.
So while you're driving in New York, don't forget to bring your Easy Pass if you have one in your state, because there are a lot of tolls throughout this state, and it's either by Easy Pass or you have to mail in. There's like a star 826 on your phone so that you can pay your tolls. And if you don't, you're in big doo-doo.
Yes. Now, another thing that's not necessarily actually while you're driving, it's when you're looking to park. My next don't is, don't dawdle when you're parking, because people will lay on that horn like, come on, get in the parking spot, get out of the parking spot. Or what you might see is when you go and you're paying in a parking garage. Like we were in Ithaca, and getting out of Ithaca, you have to pay before you go to your car. So I went to the pay station, paid the thing, and it wasn't really easy because it was 4 flights up, and you couldn't get on the elevator, so we had to walk up with all our luggage and kids. And by the time we got out, it was over 10 minutes, and they charged us another $1, so we couldn't get out.
$1.
Yeah, so luckily the guy was very nice and let us out, but I mean, don't dawdle when it comes to parking anywhere in New York. This whole state
likes to move.
Move. Now, what else would you want to say?
Well, everywhere else in the nation, it seems to me that your exit number is, you can tell what your next exit's going to be. Like it's a mile number or something, right? not so much in New York.
Yeah, don't think the exits link up with the mile numbers here, because the exit numbers are something completely different than the mile markers you're on.
Yeah, it's unlike anything else in the federal interstate system. I don't understand the logic behind it. So just be aware and be ready, because you might be at mile marker like 316, but you're taking exit 42A. And then it might be E or W too, because they're doing east and west, or N and S, I suppose. I feel like we only saw E's and W's. But anyway, sometimes those letters are corresponding to cardinal directions. So it's all a little bit funky, and I'm sure it makes sense. I just don't know what it is. And I have a big bug on me.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn wanted to make sure she was part of the driving stuff. Now, I do have another thing with the driving, then we'll get away from the driving for a while. And that is also, don't just stick on I-90, I-88, I-81. Don't just stay on the interstates. You want to get off, because honestly, one of the things that the people of New York are most proud of are the small towns you can visit throughout the state. I mean, even if you're just going to Cooperstown to see the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's a gorgeous village you can go see, and there's a lake. I mean, the lake's right there. I mean, it's just really, really pretty. So get off the interstate. Take some of the back roads, take some of the back highways, and through the state, and you can see some really gorgeous nature. Yes, it's not just a big city of New York, okay? There's a lot of great beauty to see when you're here in the state, so get off that highway. So moving on with another don't, I think you need to realize is, don't bother asking New Yorkers where upstate New York begins or where upstate New York ends, because you will get probably different answers from different people. Like, you talk to somebody from the city, they'll be like, oh yeah, the other side of the river, maybe that's where upstate begins. I'm not really sure. But the thing is no matter where you go out in the state, people have, oh, upstate's up there, or it's over there, or you're already in it. So don't have like a defined line of what is upstate New York, because you might see Syracuse is upstate New York, and other people say, no, you got to be farther north. And I'll be like, oh no, it starts more south. Look, just know, there's no defining line when it comes to upstate New York. Now, when you're exploring New York, one of the things you're going to enjoy is the food. And I got to say is, one of the most famous foods from the state of New York are buffalo wings, right? Oh, we love those spicy chicken wings. Yes. But I have to tell you, you don't call them buffalo wings when you're in New York. You call them wings, right? So it's the same thing. You don't call them Swedish meatballs when you're in Sweden. You call them meatballs. So when you're in New York, you're just going to get wings. Maybe you want a single, that's 10 wings, or a double, which is 20, but you do want to get them. And honestly, I won't lie to you, wings in Buffalo really are fantastic. I mean, we went to Dust, we went to Anchor Bar, and I got to say both were great, but Anchor Bar won out for me. And here's the shocker. The blue cheese is amazing up here too. Just saying. Okay. And now another don't I have you with those chicken wings is, don't worry about getting messy. You're there to enjoy them. So the sauce, the blue cheese, everything, you'll become a mess. But you know what? Nobody cares, because everyone understands, because the wings here are so good. Now, my next food don't I have for you is, don't think a New York City slice of pizza isn't worth it. If you're going to the city, you got to get a slice. And they'll be all over the place, believe me. But those big, huge slices of pizza, oh my God, it's like happiness in a triangle. You need to grab a slice when you're there. But another don't I have for you is, don't think that the New York slices, New York City slices, are the only kind of pizza to get in New York. We had buffalo style pizza. It was this pepperoni and cheese and pepperoni pizza. It was phenomenal, okay? Now, I actually have a video on the don'ts of New York City that I'll link below that you should watch, but I think there's a couple specific New York City don'ts I really need to put in there. And one is, if you're in New York City and you're walking around and you're going to see Empire State Building, maybe Times Square, maybe you see whatever, you're going to want to stop and take a picture. But my don't for you is, don't stop in the middle of the sidewalk when you're in New York City to take a picture. You can do this. Step to the side. And then take your picture. Because this is one of the reasons why New Yorkers, New York City people get kind of a bad rap, because they get so like, oh, get out of the way, tourist. Think about it. You're trying to go to work. You're trying to go to your kid's recital, and someone stops right in front of you. You're going to be upset too in your own hometown, right? So don't stop in the middle of the sidewalk. Just move to the side, take your picture, and it'll be okay. And another really important don't I think you need to know for New York City is, don't leave your hotel without using the toilet. Even if you think, oh, I don't need to go. No, go. Because when you're going around New York City, it is very hard to find good, clean, like hygienical bathrooms. So definitely go before you leave the hotel. And I will tell you, if you're passing by your hotel, even a few blocks away, go back and use it again, because you never know. Now, regardless where you are in the state of New York, my next don't for you is, don't think the food is garbage. even if they have a dish called a garbage plate, the food in New York is top notch. Yes, there is the pizza, there's the wings, there's the bagels, but also you can get a beef on weck, which is this roast beef sandwich on this incredible bread with some horseradish. It's so good. You can get sponge candy, you can get Speedies, the sandwiches. I mean, there's so much good food to have throughout the state that wherever you're traveling around the state of New York, make sure you ask, hey, what should I eat around here? I mean, that's how I got my beef on weck, and that's how I found out that, oh, you want to get this kind of wing sauce because that's the really original kind. I'm like, oh, cool, thank you. But yeah, don't think it's garbage, okay? Because there's really great food throughout the state, and that garbage plate, which is just basically looks like someone took a, how do I explain this? It looks like someone took a picnic table and just went and said, here you go. I mean, that's what it kind of looks like. You will eat that, but I think it would only be after this next don't, and that is, don't pass up the New York libations when you are here. If you're going to the Finger Lakes, there's a whole New York wine region by the Finger Lakes you can go to, like vineyards all over the place, and stop and grab some wine and have a wine slushy or have a wine tasty. And you can go and do that. Or for me, the beers in New York, I'm actually partial to beer from Long Island. I mean, they got some good beers on Long Island. I'm just saying, it's been my experience when I've been there, really good beers. But the state of New York actually has good adult beverages. And yeah, you can get some stuff for the kids too. Get them a birch beer for the youngins if you want. But honestly, the drinks here, very nice. Very nice, just that. But I will say one don't I have for you if you're going to go to the Finger Lake wine region. Don't forget to call ahead to see what events are going on or if things are happening, because some will have like events on a Saturday. Some will have live music on a Thursday. So you can kind of plan out your visit so you have things to do instead of just drinking wine, which is always fun. But maybe you have it. There's a slingshot thing for the kids this day, and there's a band for your teenagers another day while you're trying wine. So it's something to think about when you're heading out that way. Now, another don't I have for you, and this is going back to the city, and that is, don't think people from New York City are jerks. I mean, I always think of it this way. Imagine you lived in the city that was overcrowded, and everywhere you went to go, whether it was going to get food or go to the grocery store or going to the bodega, there's always a line. There's always people there. People are stopping right in front of you to take a picture, to make you late for work or your kid's recital or whatever. You're going to get a little upset. And I will say this, don't think that people are jerks, because once you realize that mentality, you'll see that actually, from my experience, the most helpful people in the state of New York have actually been the people from the city. Okay, so just have a heads up for that. And once you understand the mentality, you're like, yeah, the city people, they're pretty cool. I like them, right? And that's why I think it's also important just to say in general, when you're coming to the state of New York, look, don't expect friendly service when you're here. You're not going to get that over-the-top friendliness that people think about when they come to the U.S. It is more of a forward-talking, gruff kind of service attitude when you're here. And it's not just in the driving where you get the feel. It's other parts of the state as well. So I just had to put that out there because that's going to be one of your maybe things you don't like so much when you do come here to New York. I remember I was at a hotel, and the lady at the hotel that was checking me in, the manager stopped and told her, hey, look, help the human first, because they were doing something on their phone. And so they had to help me. I'm like, thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone has said to me in New York. But honestly, you'll be surprised. There'll be people that are very helpful here. And I find that they're really helpful. If they're in their local area, they'll give you a tip. This is the restaurant to go to. Here's where you got to do this. Dude, don't park there. You're going to get a ticket. Go on the other side. I'm like, cool. Thanks, man. So just know that. But just don't expect a lot of friendly service. And then for my friends that want to get a little international when you are here in New York State, don't forget to bring your passport when you come here, because you can go to Thousand Islands and you can maybe hop over to Canada if you're upstate New York, or more importantly, if you're going to Niagara Falls. Look, if you have your passport, you can go to the Canadian side of the falls, because for me, the boat ride of the New York side is the best, but the view from the Canada side is the best. And so for you to get the most out of that experience, don't forget to bring your passport when you're coming to New York State, all right? Now, there's a lot more stuff you're going to love, hate, be shocked by when you come to New York, but I just want to give some tourist don'ts when you come here, just so you're better prepared. So if you want to learn more, don't worry. We got plenty of videos on the state of New York. Jocelyn has one on the east of the state of New York. We have videos on the shocks of New York City, the don'ts of New York City, so you're going to have a great time when you're here. And I'll say bye from the extremely gorgeous state of New York. Bye.